which in the end caused me a rude awakening, which was life is passing by, and things are not important. I had at one point 2 houses and a fancy 4x4, and I thought I knew what I wanted. This experience is like peeled back everything that I thought I wanted, and realized that life is too short, and get on with it. Like, get moving. So, at first, when I was thinking about, when I first had my stroke, and I was thinking I'd be stuck in a wheelchair. Oh, it's still on. I wasn't too kind to the fact that I'd be limited to a wheelchair, and I'm sure I wouldn't be having a conversation with you as we speak had I been stuck to it. I was told at a very early stage of a stroke by some cool nurses back then that they were very confident that if you put the right foot forward and put the time needed to invest into getting your limbs to work and do whatever you want, you're more than capable. Everybody is. Even with like very severe brain damage. As I've heard stories, as I've joined groups and heard a lot of stories of many people that were put in positions where their damage was far worse than mine, where their heads are cracked open, death experiences that were with them meeting their fathers, or white lights where bodies actually died in trauma, and no ability to read, write, stand, walk. People that were in comas for 7 months or longer that have come back. People with severely damaged bodies, with all kinds of physical problems, which far exceed mine. I mean, my stroke was relatively small. I mean, it was just a blockage, which killed a little piece of my brain, caused, again, the right side of me to go limp. But I found it, for me, very easy to, well, not easy, but a little easier than most, I would imagine, to regain what has happened. And I still have friends that are still troubled with it, and I do visit them on occasion, but it's a very depressing moment, even though I want to be supportive and hang out with them and give them some inspiration to come my way. I had a friend who I met in GF Strong. His name's Paul, and he had a massive blowout to his, I think it was his right cortex. Yeah, his right cortex, where he had like 6 veins and huge bleeding, and it caused his whole left side to paralyze and so on, and he found it very difficult to deal with. Was constantly drugged out. Does it hurt? I'm feeling a lot of pain, and give me something for it. It's kind of the mentality in a hospital, when you're sitting there, and the ideas of the medical profession and the nurses are to make your experience in a hospital like a little less hurtful or relaxing or less traumatic. And if you're having some pain, here's some drugs. Like, knock yourself out. You shouldn't feel bad while you're lying in the hospital in a bed, and that whole sympathy ploy of, yeah, you're paralyzed, and that sympathy, apathy, I'm not sure, of like, here's something to ease your pain. In reality, if you want your brain to re-engage, to actually make your limbs work again, you got to make your experience very trying on that brain. If you're just if you're just drugged out, there'd be very little chance that your brain would feel the need to reconnect with those neurons or whatever that make your body well or normal. A sense of being drugged, you get to be complacent and sort of like falsely happy that, oh well, I like this feeling. Oh wow, look at me, this is awesome. Instead of giving your brain a sense of, holy shit, there's a whole bunch of shit here I can't get working, and send it into a fix mode or trying to reconnect with your limbs or your arms. It's not going to do that in a drunken state. So my philosophy was, when I was in the hospital, was to not succumb to the drugs. And there were many times where I was experiencing a lot of pain, where with a nurse offering me those painkillers every hour on the hour type deal, you could easily succumb to it, where you would take them. I mean, who wouldn't, on average? I just come from an upbringing where I never liked drugs much. I barely ever got drunk. I tried the odd thing once in a while, but never liked being that intoxicated or that effect of being lucid or relaxed. You know, I was always one of these people that needed to be in control of my body and my mind. So, you know, I guess in my lifetime, I might have been drunk 4 or 5 times, and although I've touched that funny stuff a couple times, and, you know, outside of what it does for me, like currently, it'll knock out the pain or whatever, I choose not to take it. I choose to take the pain, and that makes me sound a little nutty, but in my way of thinking, pain is a good thing. If you can register pain into a limb, then there's a connection between that limb and your brain. And if you can only concentrate hard enough or spend the time that you need to reconnect that sensation or whatever, then best to feel the pain and best to be very awake to experience it. And yeah, pain sucks and nobody wants it, but there's a need for it to get well. So deal with it if you want to get well.